Dear friends, today it's World Environment Day. I just would like to delve on how this World Environment Day program came into being and what does it mean to the humanity at the global level. As all of you are aware, friends, it was Rachel Carson who first took up that issue. She was working on the aquatic life and pesticides and its impact on life in different forms, particularly the impact of DDT and other pesticides. Around 1963, she wrote a marvelous book, The Silent Spring. It is this particular book which has inspired the world. And Rachel Carson can be described as the person who launched an environmental movement. Now that book has sensitized the world and compelled even Europeans and Americans to take a second look at the kind of development they were pursuing till then. The second part is that is United Nations, the headquarters of which is in New York. They were also influenced, and those days it was a buzzword. Everybody talking about Rachel Carson and that particular book, Silent Spring. So they decided to act, and United Nations organized what is known as the first UN conference on human environment, and this was organized in Stockholm in the year 1972. And the conference was inaugurated on June 5th. So, it took quite some time, and from 1974 onwards, the world came to organize the World Environment Day, and every year United Nations has been giving a particular theme. Because why does the UN give a theme? Because it's only to compel the nations of the world to think alike, to think on a global problem, and it should be universal. That is this debate, what we are witnessing since morning. It is happening throughout the world. And at least for a day, everybody in the world is seized of one particular problem, so that people will come to some kind of a solution. There is awareness, sensitization, and ultimately it is for the political parties and governments at the national level to fall in line. Now this year the theme is, if you can't reuse it, refuse it. Now most people are thinking it is meant for the citizens. No. It is basically meant for the nations of the world. And they need to ponder what they can't reuse it. Let them refuse it. They have to refuse, and for that public awareness and public sensitization, we need to create the right kind of pressure so that the governments, they refuse permission to the industries to produce. Friends, let the industries go to court, that's a different case. But the call of the UN is for the nations of the world. And the call is very clear. If you can't reuse, you better refuse. Now, coming to the larger issues, after Stockholm 1972, there was tremendous sensitization on this particular subject, and most of the universities in the world started connecting. So from 1972 to 1983, some thousands and thousands of articles were published on this wonderful subject of environment. Now looking at, taking a review of the kind of literature that had emerged during that particular period, the UN appointed a commission known as the World Commission on Environment and Development. It's known as the WCED. That commission worked for 4 years, and they submitted a wonderful report which has been published in the form of a book entitled Our Common Future. Now it is this book which is almost like the Magna Carta. It's like the constitution for environmentalists throughout the world. And a second conference, United Nations organized a second global conference in the year 1992, popularly known as the Earth Summit at Rio, and it is there that for the first time an agenda for the world, an agenda known as Agenda 21, it was adopted. And the purpose of the agenda was to prepare the world from 1972 June to the end of that particular millennium, that is December 99. It was intended to prepare the nations of the world to come up with new legislations, institutions, to create regulators and also laws, so to in other words, to prepare the nations to enter the 21st century on an eco-friendly note. That was the intention. So as and how the millennium was coming to an end, in the year 2000, UN once again came up with a new program, and that was known as the MDGs, Millennium Development Goals. It was basically intended to address the 8 worst problems, the very serious problems, particularly affecting the poorest of the poor. And these are, poverty, literacy, thirst, child mortality, hunger, and disease, environmental degradation, and women exploitation. As the world was trying to implement these 15, challenges, trying to redress and make the lives of the poor better, UN reviewed the whole thing, and they found that this 8-point program, Millennium Development Goals, are inadequate because they are not addressing the prosperity of the people, nor they are addressing the protection of the planet Earth, nor they are focusing on peace and partnerships, and therefore they enlarged the scope at the very many conferences that took place in Africa and other countries. And finally, in a wonderful book, The Future We Want, the global community enlisted the kind of goals that should be set after 2015. So that is how the Sustainable Development Goals have come. And we are in the 3rd year. From 1/1/2016, the goals are in operation. Today we are in 2018, we are in the 3rd year, and this program is up to 2030. Friends, recently the Telangana government has taken up 2-3 major programs which I openly appreciate. One is the Mission Kakatiya. Second is Mission Bhagirath. Please follow. One of the Sustainable Development Goals deals with drinking water. Water and sanitation is a very important component. It's important for public health. So we fortunately have our Prakash ji, my very old friend. He is here. They are doing excellent job when it comes to providing drinking water. Also trying to retain the rainwater in the village tanks. I hope in the days to come, particularly as we are about to enter the monsoon, if there is a good monsoon this year, I think the groundwater tables in Telangana may pick up, and let's hope for the best. But now what is the need? What exactly needs to be done? The time has come when political parties, they have to change, they have to modify their manifestos and include the Sustainable Development Goals. Because these goals are universal. They are basically intended to transform the world. They are intended to make the world a better place to live. So there are 17 goals. We are working on it. We are willing to help any political party. Our Congress party has approached us, but actually we want to help all the political parties, because if these political parties are, if they connect to the Sustainable Development Goals, then definitely the world will be a much better place too. So appropriate changes in the manifesto so that the sustainability factor is strengthened. And there cannot be politics in this. We are all united when it comes to the essential needs of the poorest of the poor. So on this occasion, friends, I have a very long relationship with the Institution of Engineers. I have been here several times, and they are all my good friends, and I thank Rameshwara Garu and our President Satyanarayan Garu for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There is one senior journalist, Sri Ramesh Babu. He is only using cycle for the last 30 years. He is only moving only on cycle. He has never used any scooter or anything which is using fossil fuel. So now our friends want to present him a bicycle, and I request him to come onto the stage and receive the bicycle through the hands of our chief guest, Sri V. Prakash here.
I request Pramukh Samaj Sevi, Hope of the Poor, Amrit Kumar Jain, please come to the dais. Advisor of Telangana Citizen Council.
సభకు నమస్కారం. ఇప్పుడు సైకిల్ అందజేస్తున్నటువంటి పాత్రికేయుని పేరు ఎన్ రమేష్ బాబు. వృత్తి పాత్రికేయుడు, సీనియర్ పాత్రికేయుడు, 30 సంవత్సరాలుగా పాత్రికేయుడు అయినటువంటి అనుభవం కలదు. వయస్సు 64 సంవత్సరాలు. గత 5 దశాబ్దాలుగా సైకిల్పై పయనిస్తూ పర్యావరణ పరిరక్షణ కోసం నిరంతరం కృషి చేస్తున్నారు. పర్యావరణ పరిరక్షణ కోసం ప్రతి ఒక్కరూ వారంలో ఒక్కరోజైనా తప్పనిసరిగా సైకిల్ త్రొక్కాలని పలుసార్లు ఆయన వేల రచనల ద్వారా ప్రజలకు అవగాహన కల్పించారు. అదేవిధంగా ప్రతిరోజు తప్పనిసరిగా సైకిల్ త్రొక్కడం వలన మనము మన ఆరోగ్యాన్ని కాపాడుకోవచ్చు. పర్యావరణాన్ని మనం రక్షించకపోతే భవిష్యత్తులో మన మనుగడకే ముప్పు. పర్యావరణాన్ని రక్షిస్తూ కాలుష్యాన్ని నివారించాలని ఆయన నినాదం. ఇట్టి అవకాశాన్ని ఇచ్చినటువంటి పెద్దలకు నమస్కరిస్తూ ధన్యవాదాలు.